Should you bet against the United States economy and move your money overseas, investing in Chinese and Indian ETFs instead? Let's talk about it. I know this is going to be a long video. It's going to be about 5 minutes. So if you don't have 5 minutes to watch it right now, hit the save so you can come back and watch it later. And remember, I do have a new policy, which is if you ask me a question below and I don't answer, it's probably because you're not following me. I know some people don't like that policy. They go, it's not fair. You're on social media. You're supposed to help everybody. But it's my policy to set some boundaries and prevent some people from taking advantage. The easiest way to think about doing this is by investing in the Chinese equivalent and the Indian equivalent to technology funds like what we have here in the States and broad market funds like the S&P 500. But just because they're seen as global powerhouses with fast-growing populations and innovators in a lot of things doesn't always mean that their stock market is going to outperform ours. Over the last 20 years, China's economy and their GDP skyrocketed, but a lot of those booming industries were actually state-owned, so not really stock market friendly. So you might have actually missed out on those returns even though their economy was booming. India's economy is doing very well, but their stock market has kind of already priced all of that in. So if you were to invest now, you might not be getting the booming growth you're expecting. There are also downside risks like concentration risk, like the majority of their market is just really focusing on a couple of big players, which you could make the case that we have here as well with the Magnificent Seven, kind of like keeping the economy afloat and keeping the stock market afloat and keeping the S&P 500 afloat and all of these things, because those are the dominant players and the money is concentrated in those 7 stocks as well. So you could make that case too. But there's other things like government regulation, delisting of these stocks, government interference, currency drama. You know, if their yuan or rupee fluctuates in price, it could eat into your returns. I'm going to show you a couple of these ETFs from China and India in a second, but your question might be like, well, I'm not confident in the United States right now, but the keyword is right now. Should I move that money overseas? That's a question only you can answer, but one thing to keep in mind, given everything we've already talked about, is to maybe, if you did, make it a very small part of your portfolio, just to kind of like hedge your bets and diversify overseas. This fund right here is called GXC. It is the Chinese equivalent to the S&P. It has an expense ratio over here. It has dividends that it pays out semi-annually. You can click on the holdings and you can see here that it's pretty good mix across all of the sectors. And it invests in 1,253 companies. Year to date, this fund is actually doing quite well. It's up 36% in 1 year. But if we look back over the last 10 years, it's not doing so hot. And when I say priced in, this is kind of what I mean. It's already had the growth that it's going to have, probably relating to Donald Trump and his tariffs and the trade war and all of that drama. CQQQ is the Chinese equivalent to QQQ. Year to date, it's up 47%, so already those gains could be priced in. But over the last 10 years, it's only up 59%. So compare those two ETFs to our S&P 500, which is up 228% in a decade, and our version of QQQ, which is up 451% in a decade, and those two just don't really hold up. For India, you could invest in something like INDY, which is their top 50 stocks, but look at their 1 year or year-to-date performance. It's only up 5%, and their 10-year performance is up only 94%. They also have a digital fund, something that focuses more on technology, but their year-to-date return is down. It's a loss of 4%, and it doesn't even go back 10 years. It was funded in 2022, so in that time, it's only up 18%. If you wanted to invest overseas or get international exposure, a better option than focusing on the country's specific stuff would just be a global fund like VXUS. VXUS is a total international stock market fund. You can see that year to date, this fund is up 28%, and in the last decade, it's up 60%. Now, you might be thinking, okay, you're not really a big fan of the Chinese and the Indian ETFs, but what about if our economy goes down? Won't theirs go up? Shouldn't I invest in anticipation of a recession here in the United States? And the answer is maybe short term, those funds would see a little bit of a boost, but long term, it's really not a great idea to bet against the United States. We're just the largest consumer in the world. Everything is tied to our dollar. And if we spend less, it impacts everyone. Now, just remember that in our S&P 500, about 480 of those companies, even though they're based here in the United States, have global exposure. So they're generating a substantial amount of revenue, anywhere between 30 and 50% of their revenue comes from overseas. So by investing in the US, you're getting international exposure. We dominate the markets, we're built for innovation, and the dollar is really hard to replace, even though everyone on social media is saying, BRICS, BRICS, it's going to destroy us. It won't. And I'm going to blow your mind here, but when people are afraid, they rush into the dollar, not away from it. We are still the world's dominant player. Our dollar is the reserve currency of the world. People run to safety, and they still, for now, view the United States as safe. The bonds, the treasury bills, the dollar, our economy. We have a 100% recovery rate during recessions and economic downturns.